This is 12.2 polynomial long division with Sophie. Let me write down our equation real quick. Okay, so with long division we have what we're dividing, we have what we're dividing by, we have what we're dividing. Okay, so we have our little house from elementary school, if anybody remembers that. X plus 4 plus 4x cubed minus 34x squared minus 13x plus 20 all goes inside our little house, okay? And outside we have x plus 8. Alright, you can take a minute to write that down and then we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing that we want to start with is our first value because that makes the most sense and it's easier to work with that way. Okay, so for here all of our numbers are in order by exponential value and then constants, and we don't have any missing gaps, and I'll go over gaps in a minute. Okay? So x to the fourth fits into x 3 times, so that gives us x cubed, okay? And let me show you how that works. Is x to the fourth over x. If we remember our exponent rules, this is technically 1. So whenever we're dividing numbers, we have to subtract our exponents, so that gives me 3, okay? So it's x cubed right here. Alright? So now x cubed times x still gives me x to the fourth right here. And that goes inside. Okay? And don't forget we have parentheses there because we have to subtract this in a minute. X cubed times 8 gives me 8 positive 8x cubed. Okay? And see how that lines up? Cubed lines up with cubed. So we have to subtract these and we distribute that negative inside our parentheses. So that gives us a negative here and a negative here. Okay? And if I did this correctly, which I did, x to the fourth and minus x to the fourth cancel out. Okay? So if we do these correctly on each one of these, all the first terms will cancel out. Okay? So now we have x to the fourth minus 4x cubed minus 8x cubed gives me negative 4x cubed. Yeah, okay. So now I have to bring down our negative 34x squared, okay? And with that, we have to do this problem over again, right? So 4x, negative 4x cubed over x, this is technically 1, 3 minus 1 equals 2, so we have negative 4x squared. Okay, so that's what goes up here, is negative 4x squared. Alright, so with that, we have to multiply negative 4x squared by x plus 8, and that gives me negative 4x cubed. I need to change colors. Gives me negative 4x cubed. And don't forget we have parentheses there to minus this, which ends up in a positive. So this is positive 4x cubed. Okay? So now negative 4x squared plus 8x squared, or plus 8. I have to multiply those two, which gives me positive 32, that gives me negative 32x squared, okay? So 2. So now we have to bring the negative inside over here, which gives me another positive, okay? So we distributed that negative, and now my front terms canceled out, like they should, and I have a negative 34x plus 32, which gives me negative 2x squared. Okay, now we have to bring down 13x. Alright, so how many times does 2x fit into, how many times does 2x squared, negative 2x squared fit into x? Remember that this is an exponent of 1, so we have 2 minus 1 equals 1. That's just negative 2x. That's all that it leaves us with. Okay, so I have negative 2x here. And then we have to multiply these out again. So that gives me negative 2x. Negative 2x squared. Don't forget your parentheses. Negative 2x times 8 gives me negative 16x. Okay? So distribute that negative inside. You get a positive and a positive. Okay? So, like I said, these cancel out again, because if you did it correctly, they should. And then this is a positive, so that's positive 3x. And then we have to bring down our 20. Okay? So now 3x fits into x 3 times. So that is, so that's plus 3 up here. And then we have to subtract 3x down here. So don't forget your parentheses. 3x. And then 3 times 8 gives me 24. So positive 24. We have to distribute that negative inside. And these cancel out once again. And then I'm left with 20 minus 24 equals negative 4. And if we remember from 4th grade division, then this is our remainder. So our answer is x cubed minus 4x squared minus 2x plus 3 minus 4 over x plus 8. Okay? And this cannot be divided anymore because we have no more x terms. So that is your answer for this equation. Okay? Now we're going to do one where we do not have, where we are missing one of our terms, okay? This is still 12.2, polynomial long division. Okay. Alright, so this is our equation is 10x cubed minus 5 minus 10x, okay, divided by x plus 1. Okay? So here we have to put our terms in order, so it should be 10x cubed minus 10x minus 5. And right here we are missing an x squared. Okay? And if your numbers aren't in order, we have to put a 0 in for that. So a 0 goes in between 10x cubed minus 10x. So let me show you what that'll look like. Once we put it in our little house, it's 10x cubed plus 0x squared minus 10x minus 5. Okay? Whenever that happens, we have to make sure that we have a placeholder into this equation, or else it will not work. Okay? So we have x plus 1. Alright, so now we do exactly what we did before, and how many times does 10x fit into x? So 3 minus 1 equals 2, so that's 10x squared. Okay? So now 10x squared times 10x cubed is 10x, or times x, equals 10x cubed. Then 10x squared times 1 equals positive 10x squared. Okay? So now we have to distribute that negative inside, which gives me a negative here and a negative here. Alright, so I have If these canceled out like they should, then we have nothing here. We have no more x cubed terms. So now I have negative 10x squared, and I bring down this 10x. Alright? So I have to repeat our process over again. How many times does negative 10x squared fit into x? And this is 1, so 2 minus 1 equals 1, so that should just be negative 10x. Right? So we have negative 10x. And all of your numbers up here will go in order. Okay? So negative 10x times x gives me negative 10x squared. Okay? And negative 10x times 1 gives me negative 10x. Don't forget that we have to subtract these, so we do this inside. Alright, this will give you a positive, this will give you a positive, and if we did this correctly, like we did, this cancels out, and this cancels out, unfortunately. Negative 10x plus 10x gives me 0, okay? So this is your answer, and right here we have a remainder of 5 because 5 does not have an x term, therefore it cannot be divided by x. Alright, so our answer is 10x squared minus 10x with a remainder of 5, negative 5 over x plus 1. Okay? That's the end of 12.2, polynomial long division. If you have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments.